Hey guys, welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It is 9 o'clock and it's time for another video. I'm back with another mat test, which is rapidly becoming one of the most popular videos on the channel. If you don't know what the mat test is, the idea is very simple. There's a guy that works in my office. His name is Matt. He works in the sales department. He loves magic. He absolutely loves magic. He reacts better than any L&L member of the audience, but he's constantly trying to figure out how tricks are done. So it's very interesting to hear his perspective of how tricks are done. It's very interesting to hear his thoughts on magic when it is performed to him. So the whole idea of this video is to show something new to Matt and yeah, ask him his thoughts on it really, and ask him what he thinks. I think that that's quite an insightful way to find out more about the magic that's currently been released to the magic community. So before we start, don't forget, if you haven't already done so, subscribe to the channel. But let's get into this week's mat test. So this week I am doing a mat test on my new project for the 1914 forecast. Now, if you don't know what forecast is, it's basically a almost 5-hour project dedicated to the memorized deck, and more specifically to predictions using a memorized deck. So if you don't know what a memorized deck is, you can go check out a video that I did on this channel called The Hows and Wives of the Mem Deck. The idea is it's a deck of cards that is in it's in an order that you are aware of. And it basically allows you to do near miracles. Now on the project, I talk about how to memorize a deck of cards, how to put it into your long-term memory. I go through some basic false shuffles and false cuts. And I talk about how you can actually memorize a deck relatively easily. I go through the exact system that I used to teach Rylan to memorize a deck of cards at the age of 7. Having said all that, the project is not just about how to memorize a deck of cards. That's just a small little bonus of the project. The goal is to teach 10 routines, 9 routines plus a bonus routine. And the idea is to make a steep learning curve more gradual. What I mean by that is normally with a mem deck, you memorize the deck of cards, and then the next thing you do is you go out into a performing situation, whether that be to a social situation with friends and family, or that be an actual gigging situation, and you have to go from memorizing this deck in your house to actually doing it in front of real people. And it can be a very stressful thing, and it's why so many people start to learn and then forget the mem deck. It's because taking that leap from memorization to actually performance can be quite a big leap. So on this project, we've tried to put together 9 routines, and these 9 routines are all about how to flatten the curve, so to speak, when it comes to learning mem deck magic. The first 3 routines are self-working. You don't even need to know the stack. It requires a memorized deck, but you don't even need to know the stack to make it work. The next 3 routines are routines that do require you to memorize a deck of cards, but we've incorporated into those routines a crib, which is printed onto the back of a joker, which is included in the project. And the joker is used in a very logical way in the routine, so it allows you to get access to the information that you need in real time. So if you're memorizing a deck and you kind of maybe have stumbled over and forgotten, it allows you to kind of check your work. So it's designed to give people more confidence, almost like a safety net when they go out into the real world and perform this for the first time. And then the other 3 require instant recall. So it's really about the tricks. Now, I'm going to perform a couple of routines on Matt. And I'm going to perform, a lot of people have asked me what the self-working routines on the project are. What are the self-working routines? Because the problem with a lot of mem deck magic is, there's a couple of problems. The first problem is a lot of the stuff that doesn't require you to know the stack is like long drawn out gambling routines. And it's people have said to me, are these going to be the same sort of thing? And the other problem with a stack deck is a lot of the time, a lot of the routines will destroy the stack. Now, I'm a real world working magician. I don't want my stack destroyed. I don't want to have to be in a situation where my reset is to restack my deck. So none of the routines take the stack out of order. And the self-working routines are really hard hitting, even though I do say so myself. So I'm gonna perform 2 of the routines to Matt and see what he thinks. Now, the first one is a version of any card, any number. Now, this is not designed as a magician fooler, but this absolutely kills in the real world. It's basically what feels like an any card, any number. If this was released as a standalone product, you could genuinely say in the ad copy that the spectator makes all of the choices. There is no force of the number because there's not. It could be a different number. There's no force of the card because there's not. They can literally deal to any number and any card they want to. They can even change their mind right up until the last second. And you don't touch the deck. The deck's placed on the table. At no point do you touch it. They deal down to the position and the cards at that position, and that would be an accurate ad copy. And I teach how to make, you can make this in like 10 minutes, 15 minutes at the absolute most, and then you're good to go. And it's completely self-working in terms of memorization and in terms of sleights. There's no sleights. So I performed this to Matt. Let's see what he thinks and get his thoughts on this before we go and look at one more routine. I'm going to show you a trick. It's just a fancy deck of cards.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's a fancy deck of cards. I'm going to show you a trick with 2 packs of cards.
Okay.
I've made a prediction with this deck. So what I did is I opened it up, I took one card, put it into a specific location, and then left it there, and I haven't touched it since. That is my prediction.
Okay.
This deck, I kind of did something weird too, on purpose. What I did with this deck is well, from this side, you can see that they all look normal, right? But from the other side, I shuffled the cards thoroughly. I gave them a really good shuffle.
Okay.
And then once I shuffled them, I wrote numbers on them.
You doodled on them.
I basically wrote 1 to 52, and it was just in a random order. Whatever came up, I wrote 1 to 52. So we end up with 52 cards with 52 numbers on them. That's basically what I've done.
Okay.
And I'm going to get you to help me, but this is all about you making all of the choices. Because you know, sometimes when you're watching Magic, you can feel forced.
Yeah.
I don't want you to feel forced in any way, shape, or form. So you're going to make all of the choices here, okay?
Okay.
So it starts off with you picking 2 cards. So I'm going to deal down onto the table, and as I do, anytime you want to, just say stop.
Stop.
There. Are you sure you want to stop there?
Yeah, I was getting a bit bored.
Okay, that's fair enough. I'm not surprised. It's me performing, so kind of makes sense. But you feel happy there, yeah?
Yeah.
Now, this is genuinely all about choices. So you've got another choice that you need to make now. And the next choice is, you stopped at this point and said we needed 2 cards. Do you want to take 2 cards in this packet? Do you want to take 2 cards in this packet?
All right.
So you can take the 2 that you dealt, or you can take the 2 that were next in line before. It doesn't matter.
I'll take the 2 that I dealt.
These here?
Yeah.
So you want to take these 2 cards, yeah?
Yeah.
Happy?
Yeah, man. Always.
Okay, cool. Well, that's great. So that's a free choice. You could have stopped anywhere you wanted to, and then you chose which 2 cards to take, right?
Yeah.
Now, one of those cards, well, both of them are going to have a number on them, and both of them are going to be a playing card. So you're going to make one more choice. One of these cards is going to represent a playing card, and one of them is going to represent a position in the pack, because each one's got a number from 1 to 52. So which one would you like to be the number card? Which one would you like to be the actual card?
Number card, playing card.
So this is the number card.
That's the number card.
24. Interesting.
Good TV show.
Because it would have got, you know, if you'd stopped before, it would have looked, 47, 34. It's not, you could examine these cards with a fine-tooth comb. Every single number is different. If you'd gone further, or it would have been completely different. And if you'd gone for that one, that would have been completely different as well. But you've gone 24.
Yeah, man.
And 10 of clubs.
Okay.
24 and 10 of clubs. Is that fair?
Yeah, man.
And do you remember I said that I made a prediction into put a card in a particular location in that deck before we began? And I said I wasn't going to touch that deck. Do you want to open up the cards for me?
Oh, I don't like it, dude.
Go ahead and open the cards. And when you've opened the cards, hold them face down.
Oh, no.
And then what I want you to do is deal 23 cards onto the table. Because you ended up on 24. Deal 23 cards. 1, 2, 3,
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23.
So that's the 24th card.
That is the 24th
And just to
card.
recap, you could have stopped anywhere, right?
Way, dude.
You could have carried on. And if you had carried on, and then I even gave you the choice of which cards to go for, from which packet. Then you decided which,
There's no fucking way.
There's no way. I mean, it would look completely different, even right down to the very last second. But you ended up on 10 of clubs. You ended up on 24. That's the 24th card. I haven't touched the deck. I still don't want to. I don't want to do some fancy switch in the last second. You can turn it over yourself. Turn that 24th card over.
There's no way.
Oh my fucking god. But But I did everything.
You did?
I said stop.
You said stop.
I picked top or bottom off the deck. And then, if I'd have done it the other way, it would have been 6 down and 6 of diamonds. That was literally, if it was the other way around.
You got me.
It wouldn't have been... There's no way that's possible, though. No, it's like, I'm just trying to... There's no way that that's possible. Because all the decisions were mine. He didn't fucking touch them.
You could examine everything as well. I mean, it's all examinable.
They are all different numbers. Don't get it.
So this is off a new project of mine. It's called Forecast.
You've done that.
That's one of my routines. Don't act so fucking surprised.
These are just a normal deck.
Yeah.
They're fucking cool. I like them.
Yeah, it's called Providence deck. It's by 1914.
I mean, that's not the point, but they are cool cards. It's just a normal deck, isn't it?
Yeah.
So neither of those are trick decks.
No. I mean, other than the fact that I wrote on the number, that's it. Any idea? What do you think of it?
Any idea how it's done?
Any idea how it's done? Any flaws in the trick? Any problems?
Not a fucking clue how you've done that.
Because even though it's my trick, you can be completely honest.
No, I know. I didn't know it was your trick. Like, not a fucking clue, dude. Not a clue. Because all the decisions are made by me.
Yeah.
And it's not decisions, like you said, where you can, like, switch shit out. The last decision is there's 2 cards there.
Yeah.
And you go, which one's the playing card? Yeah. It's not even like, pick the playing card and I go that one. And you go, oh, okay. And you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's not like whichever one I pick, you're going to pick the right one.
Mm-hmm.
You went, which one's the playing card? And I went, playing card number. So
yeah.
There's no switching anything about it.
Nope.
Playing card, and that's my decision.
Yeah.
You can't know that.
No.
And if I'd have chosen the other card, you can't go into every trick having a 50-50 shot of getting it right, can you?
No.
Like, that was...
And you also stopped anywhere you wanted to.
And you stopped anywhere you wanted. And I picked top or bottom of the deck. There's a lot of decisions to be made, and you ain't touching anything.
No.
Yep, that works, doesn't it?
Well, should we have a look at another one? Off the project, because there's 10 routines on there. Yeah. Let's have a look at one more. Completely different.
Do it.
Okay, so I found that very interesting. Matt really liked it, obviously, as you can see. I did love the moment where he said, if I'd gone the other way, it would have been a completely different card and a completely different number. I really did love. And it kind of just shows the spectators thinking. You know, as magicians, we kind of look at that and we go, okay, I could kind of see how that would be done. But as a layperson, it's kind of like, no, there's absolutely nowhere for them to go. It's just a complete and total, you know, like, what? That just makes no sense whatsoever. So, yeah, I mean, I knew that because I've been performing that particular routine in real gigging situations for a long time, and it always hits, and it hits hard. And anyone who's got the Forecast project will tell you that because there's live performances on the project. But yeah, it's really strong. We're going to have a look at a second routine now. Now, this is another routine that's completely self-working. Again, both in terms of the stack and also in terms of memorizing the deck and sleight of hand. There's no sleight of hand. And this is a really simple routine. And I think this is an example of sometimes as magicians, we overcomplicate things. And what I mean by that is sometimes as magicians, we look for the most complicated, you know, like, oh, I want to do this routine because it's got all these sleights and all these moves in, or I want to make it as complicated as possible. This routine is incredibly simple. It's a swindle switch and a couple of cross-cut forces. There's nothing difficult in this routine at all, but by golly, it hits really hard. And it's interesting what Matt says about this routine versus the first routine, which, remember, he liked. So have a look at that. Let's have a look at that performance right now. So I'm going to tell you right now, before we do anything, I have a prediction.
Okay.
That's what the question mark is for. Just in case you didn't realise. Huh? That was me. And it took me ages to do as well. It wasn't a little thing. I took a while to do that, man. I was quite proud of my work as well, to be perfectly honest. But that's fine. That's okay.
Wow.
The point of that is it's a question mark. It's a question mark because there's a prediction in there, and I'm not going to touch that until later on. We're going to give the cards a bit of a shuffle, shuffly. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Cool. Now here's what we're going to do. You are going to cut the pack any way you want to, and we're gonna mark the cut. Now, I should tell you that inside this prediction, there are playing cards. You can probably see, if I open it, I don't want you to see what they are, but you can see there's playing cards. Can you see? Can you see there's playing cards inside there? I don't want you to see what they are.
Yeah,
there's
3 or 4.
There's 5 playing cards altogether. 5 playing cards altogether. And because of that, I'm going to take 5 cards from here. From the deck that I shuffled, I'm going to take 5 cards, but they have to be the 5 cards that you cut to. So it's going to be these cards. Are you happy with these, or would you like to do the cutting again? You okay with these? Those 5 there.
Sure.
Cool. You happy? Yeah?
Yeah, man.
You're happy, I'm happy. We're not even going to use the rest of the cards, so you know that there can be no switchiness or ambiguity or anything like that. We're just going to use those 5 cards. There is one more thing that we need, and we're going to need another card at random. So I'll tell you what, just cut again for me. You can cut shallow, you can cut deep, you can cut in the middle. It's totally up to you. and put those there, and we'll mark the cut. We'll get back to that later on.
Okay.
It's these cards. We're not even going to look at them. We're just going to do something interesting. I'm going to ask you to say deal or switch.
Okay.
If you deal, I'll deal the card onto the table. If you switch, I'll change the positions of the 2 cards and just drop them on the table. You get the idea?
Yeah.
So deal or switch.
Deal.
And again.
Switch. Switch.
So you can see 4 of the cards you change the position of, yeah?
Yeah.
Now, every time you do this, it looks completely different. We're going to do it again with Jack. So, Jack, deal or switch?
Switch.
Like that, yeah?
Deal. Switch.
Interestingly, he went a completely different approach, but still 4 of the cards were switched. And because you switched them the first time, they're now in a completely... Every card is in a random order compared to where it started. We'll do it one final time. Deal or switch?
Switch. Switch. Deal.
Happy?
Yeah, man.
If you're happy, I'm happy. So, I want to show you something. We're gonna turn the cards over now. Okay? And I'm just gonna deal them along the table.
Okay.
Okay? Now, do you want me to deal that way? That way? You want me to start here?
That way.
That way. Are you sure?
Why not? Yeah, go for it.
4 of hearts.
Yeah.
3 of clubs.
Yeah.
7 of diamonds. 2 of hearts. 4 of clubs. No one could have known that, could they? Like, no one could have known.
Fucking terrible poker.
But this prediction's been here the whole time. And I said there was cards in there. The interesting thing is when I take the cards out, you'll see, look at that on the face. There's a 4 of clubs. Now, that could be a coincidence. But underneath the 4 of clubs, there's a 2 of hearts. Underneath the 2 of hearts, there's a 7 of diamonds. Underneath the 7 of diamonds, there's a 3 of clubs. And that's a 4 of hearts. In other words, the cards that you cut to from the shuffled deck, that you then took out from the position that you wanted to take them out from, that we then mixed up thoroughly, you and Jack, between you, we've got the right number. We've got the exact same order. Not just the same cards, but the same order. But here's what's really interesting. I then got you to cut the deck again. Do you remember?
Yeah.
And you cut to this exact point here, and you cut to the 6 of diamonds. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Here's what's really interesting. There's one more aspect to this prediction that I never told you about. I wrote on the back of the cards. And I wrote on the back of this one, the. I wrote on the back of this one, 6. I wrote on the back of this one, of. I wrote on the back of this one, diamonds. And just so you understand the impossibility, I threw an exclamation mark in there. And that is the 6 of diamonds.
Any comment, Matt?
No.
So what do you think of that one? That's off the same project. It's called Forecast. Better than the first one? Not as good?
That's better than the first one.
How come? Because you loved the first one. How come?
Because of that bit.
That end.
Like, that seems impossible.
Yeah?
That seems impossible.
Yeah.
And it's a really, really good trick. To
Yeah.
bring them out in line with each other, that's a fantastic trick. But then to have that bit, that's just sitting there the whole time. And then, like, you're like, well, what's the deal with that? Because it doesn't match up with any blah, blah, blah. And then you've actually got it written down on the back of those cards. That's a massive wow factor for the end of that performance. So that's a really good card trick.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're paying a lot of money to see a really good magician, you would expect really good card tricks.
That's
what
true,
you
yeah.
wouldn't expect is that afterwards. Because that's a really good card trick. And then you're just like, you know what, I'm better than the rest of you. Fuck you, I'm going to do that as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
That's a fantastic end to that. That's blowing your mind twice in a very short space of time. And it's actions that I've taken.
Yeah.
I don't understand that at all. Just when you think you're starting to get an idea about what's going on, and then he does something like that, and you're like, nah, fuck it.
How long we worked here for?
I'm just going to sell stuff.
Like 3 years and we haven't figured out anything.
Yeah, nothing. Literally figured out fuck all in 3 years. I know nothing.
Do you like it?
It's very good. It's very good. Yeah.
Thank you. Put those back.
As much as I'm not an advocate of making your head any bigger than it already is.
Well, it is a big head. I have
It
to
is a
admit,
big head.
It can be a big head.
Yes,
But that is-
there's trouble getting through the door.
That's good, isn't it, though? That's a really good one.
The part, like when you cut the deck, like that could have been anywhere.
Yeah, I cut that. It could have gone anywhere.
Madness.
And they're in fucking order. So it's not like he's just brought a card to the top of the deck and forced it down somewhere or whatever, because there's fucking 5 of them. You can't, like, double lift. You can't double lift 5 fucking cards, can you? Can you?
No.
Can't double lift 5 cards. You have to check. You can't double lift 5 cards.
And there's
So
also,
there's no way of, like, how would you control 5 cards?
and the cards in the envelope, like that could have been anything.
And the envelope was given to you at the very beginning.
And
You never
yeah.
touched it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, don't get it. It's fucking brilliant, though.
Thanks, man. Well, there you go. I found it really interesting what Matt said there. He actually preferred that routine to the first routine. And, you know, as a magician, again, we'd look at it and we'd go, well, that's actually really simple. And it is a really simple routine. But maybe that's the most important thing about this stuff. You know, in sales, you know, because I've got a background in sales. In sales, there's that expression, isn't it? Kiss it, don't kill it. In other words, keep it short and simple. Don't keep it long and lethal. And that applies to our magic as well. You know, I'm sure there's going to be people watching that routine and go, oh, it's really simple. And it is really simple, but you actually think about the effect on the audience. You've put the prediction out in full view from the very beginning. They apparently have had a free choice of any position in the deck. They have a free choice of how the cards are laid out. You've got that moment where you've got a perfect match, but then you've got that kicker ending. And I think it was that kicker ending that made Matt go, well, that was better. And yeah, maybe that's something that we need to learn as magicians, that, you know, it's important to layer things. It's important to have that, you know, M. Night Shyamalan sort of kicker ending that you just don't see coming. You know, that sixth sense moment. It's the same thing with our magic. You know, we've laid them down the garden path. We've done a routine, which they liked. And then we kick them in the head with something else that they didn't even expect. And maybe that's the way to make our magic more popular. I don't know. Popular is not the right word. More engaging? I don't know. But anyway, I found it really, really interesting. So those are 2 of the routines on the Forecast project. I think that Forecast, to be honest, has passed the mat test as far as I can see. There's a load of other routines on there. To be honest, this mat test would be 2 hours long if I showed him every single trick off the Forecast project. So I thought I'd pick the first 2 routines off there, 2 of the self-working routines, let you have a chance to see the routines, but also give Matt a chance to talk about them as well. yeah, I mean, Forecast is available directly from the 1914 from their website, and you know, it's always nice to support the producer that produces it, especially as the 1914 are an upcoming production company. But you can get them from all good magic dealers, so you go anywhere and you can get a copy of that as well. But yeah, I think that's a big win for me with the mat test, at least I think so. So there you go, guys. That's another that's another mat test in the bag. Do me a favor, let me know what you think in the comments down below. I'd love to know your thoughts. Don't forget, if you want to see more videos like this, like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below. You want to carry on seeing more mat tests, let me know in the comments down below. If you want to join the NETRIX, you can do so by going to www.thenetrix.com, and you can go and get access immediately and see what all the fuss is about. I am going to be back again soon with another stack of videos. So thank you for tuning in. I'll see you again soon. My name's Craig from Magic TV.